Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you had an amazing weekend. I hope you got to watch the live service, and if it was possible, I think this Sunday some people actually got to go to church. I hope you went to church if that was a possibility. If not, I hope you're watching the online services because they're amazing, they're great, and you should really keep up with them. Believe it or not, this is the last week of classes, so that's exciting. We're going to be doing lesson 91. We're on page 438. We're just doing problems 1 through 15, but I do have all the problems on the board. I managed to squish them all in there. But don't worry, we're only doing problems 1 through 15 today, and then 16 through 30 tomorrow here on this same board. So let's go ahead and get started. Page 438. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Yes, we're still recording. Page 438, lesson 91. Follow along with me in your books. Make sure you're paying attention. Imagine you are flipping a coin, the one I have here. All right, how many different outcomes are possible? So we see, obviously, we look at the coin, there's only 2 possible outcomes. So what is the probability of getting heads up? We're asking how likely is it that the heads will turn up when the coin is flipped. I don't know if you guys remember, I don't know if it was in this class or maybe it was during Spirit Week, or maybe it was in junior church. I can't remember where it was, but I think we were with Mrs. Turner in the auditorium we were using, and we kept flipping the coin, and I promise you, we flipped the coin like no less than 8 times, and it was heads up every single time. It was crazy. But anyway, back to probability. Probabilities are stated as ratios. The numerator of a ratio is the number of ways desired or favored events can happen. The denominator of the ratio is the total number of outcomes possible. In this case, the probability of the favored outcome to heads is 1/2, okay? So if I said, what's the probability of it being heads up? There's a 1 out of 2 chance that it'll be heads up, okay? Because there's only 2 possible outcomes. So the favorable outcome is the numerator, and the possible outcomes is the denominator. All right, next. So what is the probability of the toys being landing tails up? Okay, so the first one is heads up, and the second one is tails up. But you see, it's the same probability. For heads or tails, the probability of it being either heads or tail is 1/2. Next, let's go on to example number 2. What is the probability of drawing an ace from a normal deck of cards of 52? And if I'm not mistaken, a deck of cards, a regular deck of cards, has 4 sets inside of them. They go from numbers 1, or the ace, through the king. Okay, so they basically are valued as 1 through 13, and there's 4 of them. So there's 4 1s, there's 4 2s, 4 3s, 4 4s, and so on. There's 4, what are they? Not jokers. 4, I can't remember. Jokers? I don't remember. And queens and kings, okay? So there's 4 of each. So we see that the probability of drawing an ace is 4 out of 52, okay? Because there are 4 aces in the pile of, in the deck of 52 cards. The probability is 4 to 52. So here we see the favored number is the numerator, and the possible outcomes is the denominator. And next, let's go on to, we'll skip that paragraph where it says recall. Let's go on. An event that is certain to happen has a probability of 1, okay? So it's for sure gonna happen. So if we roll a common number cube, okay, so like a regular die that you would see in a board game, the probability of rolling a number less than 7 is 6/6, because all 6 possible outcomes are favorable outcomes. The ratio would be 6/6, which equals 1, okay? So if I said, what are the chances, like this paragraph said, of getting a number in a regular cube that is under 7? Because the numbers in the cube are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All of these numbers are under 7, okay? Therefore, the possibility is 6/6, which equals 1, okay? So if an outcome is certain, it would be said the probability is 1. Then, an event that is certain not to happen or impossible to happen has a probability of 0. So the probability of rolling a 7 with one roll of a single number cube is 0/6 because no favorable outcomes are possible. So same thing. If I have a cube numbered from 1 through 6 and I said, oh, what's the possibility or probability of getting a 7? Well, it's impossible, so you write 0/6, which would equal 0. Okay, so whenever you run across that, you'll know. Then, our final part here, chance. A probability is sometimes expressed as a chance, written in percent form. The chance of rain is 100%. You've probably seen this on the forecast when you're wondering if you can go out and play once everything clears up and we can actually go out and go have fun at the park and stuff like that. You see, well, what's the weather? What's the chance of rain? And they usually state it as a percent. And so you see, if the chance of rain is 100%, then it is certain, okay, to rain. If the chance of rain is 50, then it is as likely to rain as it is not to rain. So there's a 50-50 chance. We've done this here in class where we went off of a percentage and I said, all right, at this point, there's a 100% chance that we'll have an extra break. And then maybe, let's see, who would misbehave? Let's say maybe Selena would punch Selena and I'd be like, guys, I'm sorry, the chances just went down 10%. And then maybe Maria would like drop kick Vanessa or something and be like, sorry guys, that's another 10%. And the percentage just went lower. The probability or the chance of us going out, just disclaimer, that never happened in class actually. But the possibility of or the chance of us going out to play kept going lower and lower and lower until eventually, let's see what would happen. I think Alejandra would pull Rebecca's hair, and then I'd be like, all right, there's a 0% chance of us going out to play, and so on and so forth, okay? That's chance. All right, so let's see example number 3. The weather report stated that the chance of rain on Tuesday is 40%. What is the chance that it will not rain? So there's a 40% chance that it will rain. What percent chance is it that it will not rain? Either it will rain or it will not rain. The combined probability of the two events is 100%, okay? So we're going off of that measuring. The probability of rain is 40, so the probability that it won't rain, so just subtract 40 from 100, you get 60. So it'd be 60%. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into problem number 1 on page 441. The weather forecast stated that the chance of rain for Wednesday is, again, 40%. Does this forecast mean that it is more likely to rain or not to rain, okay? So 40% chance of rain, okay? And they're asking, is it more likely to rain or not to rain? Well, let's see what the chances of no rain is. We subtract 40 from 100, we get 60%. So we could compare these 40% to 60%. It's pretty obvious here that there's a greater chance, now it's not totally impossible, but there's a greater chance of no rain than there is of rain, all right? Let's go on to problem number 3. The sum of 3 numbers is 144. Then what is the average of the 3 numbers? You remember to get an average, we have to add 3 numbers together and then divide it by the amount of numbers. Well, we know, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so in order to find the numbers that were added together, we've got to divide the total by 3. So 3 goes into 14. What is it, 4 times? 12, 2, bring down the 4. All right, so 3 goes into 24, 8 times. So the numbers that were added, the average number was 48. The average of these numbers was 48. Yes. All right, and that answers our question. Next, number 5, we got 10 squared minus 8 squared. Remember, when we have the exponent of 2 or the power of 2, the number goes higher, okay? When we get square roots, that's when we go lower. So what is the square root of, what's the square of 10? 10 squared? Remember, it's not 10 times 2, it is 10 times 10. So 10 times 10 equals 100. And then minus the square of 8. So 8 squared is not 8 times 2, it's 8 times 8, which is 64, which gives us the final answer, 36. 100 minus 64 is 36. You should have These memorize, just like you memorize your multiplication table, you should go 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, and so on. Just know those right off the bat. That way, when you get 10 squared, you're like right away 100, 8 squared, right away 64, okay? Those would be something very good to memorize. All right, next, number 7. Write the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. Then substitute 12 inches for length and 6 inches for width. Solve the equation to find the perimeter of the rectangle. So we've got our formula here. P equals 2 times length plus 2 times width. And we were told to substitute length by 12 and the width by 6. 12 inches and 6 inches, okay? So now we can multiply those. 2 times 12 is 24. I can add my inches here, and 2 times 6 is 12 inches. And now we have 24 inches plus 12 inches, which is obviously 36 inches. Remember, when we add these units of measurement, we're not squaring those. It is inches squared because they're the same unit of measurement in addition and in subtraction. It's only when we get to multiplication that those start changing. So 36 inches is your final answer to problem number 7. Number 9, if 5/6 of the members were present, then how many were absent? Okay, so 5 members, we've got 5/6 present. So let's go ahead and work this out. We take 5/6 times 30, and I represented my 30 as 30 over 1, okay? And then 5 times 30 is 150, 6 times 1 is 6, okay? But before I keep going here, I see that 6 goes into 30 evenly 5 times. So now I've eliminated my denominators to just give me 5 times 5. So that equals 25. So we know that 25 members were present. 5/6 of the 30 members were present. So how many were absent? Well, all we do is we take the whole 30 and subtract it, and we see that 5 members were absent. Okay? 5 members were absent. Next, number 11, we're down to square roots, okay? When we think roots, we think down into the ground. All right, so the square root of 100 divided by the square root of 25. This is also something that you should know right off the bat. So you can remember here, you go here, 10 times 10 is 100. So the square root of 100 is 10, okay? And then you think 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times 5 is 25. So there we find the square root of 25. 5 times 5 is 25. So now we can divide. How many times does 5 go into 10 evenly? 2. So the square root of 100 divided by the square root of 25 equals 2. On to the next one. Just 2 more. We've got 100 minus 9.9, okay? So I've got my whole numbers here, and what I'm gonna do with my 100 is I'm gonna line up the decimal and add a 0 in the ones place because the 9.9 has a 9 in the ones place. So now I have to subtract. I'm gonna borrow from this 10, make that a 9, make this a 10, gotta borrow from this one again, make that a 10. So 10 minus 9 is 1, 9 minus 9 is 0, 9 minus 0 is 9. So your final answer, 100 minus 9.9 equals 90.1. And last but not least for today, Monday, we've got 5/8 equals 48, and we're just looking for the denominator. We are looking for the numerator, okay? So let's look here. What number times 8 equals 48? Think about it. I'll tell you. 8 times 6 is 48. And you guys remember, as it has been repeated many times, whatever we do to the denominator, we're going to do to the numerator. And by doing that, we're going to find the missing numerator. So 8 times 6 is 48. So we do 5 times 6 is 30. So we've determined the missing numerator by solving the denominator, okay? So when you're missing a numerator, just look down to the denominator, see what number was multiplied to get that denominator, and then just multiply the numerator by that number. And that's it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's actually going to be the same video on the same day, but I'm going to cut it in 2 parts. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. All right, bye.